was beautiful. I mean, it doesn't do it justice, to be honest with you. All right. How's everybody doing today? Big week, obviously, going on the road. First conference road game. They going into a tough environment against a very good football team. Always kind of tough battles, very physical games when you're playing Kentucky. And, anytime you're in the SEC, you get these stretches, of big games. And we're in the middle of one of these stretches of big games, going back to back to back to back. And so it'll be a great challenge for our guys. Injury-wise, we're hanging in there. As I know everybody with Anthony, we haven't practiced yet, but again, he was cleared to play in the game. We thought just about at 100% last week, but just decided to be cautionary. Especially, I always, you meet the medical staff when you're dealing with like a hamstring issue. When you think you're 100%, wait one more week, and then you are good. And so that's kind of we were able to do that on that front. Kyer Elam, I meet with our trainers this morning. We'll know later this week, but I'd say he's probable. They feel pretty good about him being back in the game this week. Stuart Reese, we held him last week. He was cleared to play, but wouldn't have been 100%. And Josh Braun came in. I thought did a great job for him. Again, one of those situations where, we felt Josh at 100% was going to be better than Stuart at 75%, and now we expect to have Stuart back healthy to go this week. Same with kind of Gene DeLance, played a little bit, been banged up, and then Michael Tarquin did a great job last week and came in. And so hopefully not only has it created some depth, but it's allowed the two older guys to get healthy and getting ready for a tough road battle. That's my injury report.
All right. Edgar, you want to start us off?
Yeah, that was a good report, Dan.
You're well. I know you guys love that stuff, so.
Well, I mean, fans love it probably more than we did, or at least in my case. You mentioned it. I mean, physical team, SEC road. Is this where you really learn a lot about kind of the toughness of your football team? Not to be cliche, but do you learn something there?
Yeah. We've learned some different things each week. You've gone from kind of the early two games where you're getting to go and learn about the team and how we get ready to get into the season to, playing a really good Alabama team in a battle, then having to come back for a huge rivalry game a week later, now having to go on the road. I think you're always learning in this league. It's such a challenge for from 1 week to the next. But what I need to see us is continue to take those steps of improving. I think that's it. I think when you get in, you want to be a great team. You got to play great all the time, and I saw that. I saw certainly saw a decrease in mental errors this week from the week before. Even though, there's still plenty of them to go around, and I met with the team this morning. I pointed out my mental error in the course of the game and stuff that happens, and that we got to be better. And, to me, as we continue to eliminate those things, it's important, especially now when you're going on the road into a hostile environment. And it will be different. Crowd noise, everything going on will be a little different preparation this week and extra elements that you have to add within our attention to detail.
So the last 2 weeks, I think you guys have yielded 4 plays, 40+ on defense. And I know those are things coaches hate to see.
Yeah.
Are you pinpointing something on those? Is there a common theme?
Well, no. To me, the common theme would be attention to detail and the exactness you have to play with every play. Now there's not one thing that you pinpoint in each play and say it's the same thing on all 4 plays. The thing is if you're not executing and 100% locked in on every single play, the other team has an opportunity for an explosive, and if I look at their explosive plays this past week, their 3 biggest plays of the game, 2 resulted in touchdowns. All 3 of them, and give them credit, they have to execute them. But all three of them, we could have the opportunity to defend those. We just didn't put ourselves in position or had a missed assignment, or poor alignment on one and poor technique on another one. So it's not just one thing. But it is on our attention to detail to make sure that doesn't happen.
I mean, are those the kind of killers like in a foot-tight game?
They can. I mean, they fortunately they weren't last week. The three that came up last week, but I think as you get going within the team, they can be. And I think to be a great team, you have to eliminate those. You eliminate all of those, you're going to be a great team. I mean, a great team. When you eliminate every mental error and you play at a high level, you're going to be a great team.
Thank you, Dan.
Cassidy?
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
I know that obviously your focus is Florida and your opponents, but do you get a chance to sort of peek around at other college football games going on this year? And if so, do you have an opinion on what it seems like there's more parity, I guess is what I'm asking, than there has been in recent years, and it could kind of be anybody's year for a shot?
Well, I think we'll see. It's still 4 weeks, only 4 weeks into the season. I think everybody's trying to figure out who's, good and who's not. I think one of the hardest things sometimes in college football that come up is a lot of times it shakes out at the end of the year. You should figure out who the great teams are. And you always know until the season starts. I know because we have preseason rankings, where somebody is like considered in first place before a game's ever been played. And most sports don't have that. And so I don't think anybody even knows much about teams until a bunch of games are played. And not that I'm against the rankings. I think it's kind of cool. But I think it shakes out. We'll see if there is parity at the end, a little more parity at the end of the year. I don't know. It's still kind of early. I mean, I go back to 2014. I think after 4 games, I was at Mississippi State. We weren't ranked. 3 games later, we're the number 1 team in the country. And so I still don't know if we even know if there's parity yet or you see where everybody's at. I do get to watch. So I try to. Like, if we play a night game during the day, you get to watch a couple of the games that are on. If you play a day game, you get to watch a couple of the night games afterwards, to see some of that stuff. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how everybody does over the next couple of weeks.
And then what does Mark Stoops sort of bring to that Kentucky defense that makes them such an interesting one to scheme?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that Mark's done a really good job of is build a program, that has an identity. They're a very big physical defense. Obviously, they have their scheme. They know their scheme. They play it. The guys know it inside and out. Very good scheme. That they have experience. They have a bunch of veteran players on the team. But he's done a great job of building the program with the identity. They're going to be a big physical defense, and then they have a strong running game that's complemented by play action pass. And that's when you play them with that identity, that's who they are, and he's been really successful with that. And I think I always give Mark a lot of credit. I think he's built a program the right way, and it shows with their consistency of how they've won over the last several years.
David Waters.
Hi, Coach. Creating havoc, getting sacks once again up front on defense, but not really turning into turnovers, mainly interceptions on the back end. Is there something more on defense that can help you create some more turnovers there?
No, we'll see. We're getting after people. I mean, to create turnovers, the offense got to make some mistakes too now, So, you look at, that type of stuff happens. So I don't know that that's that big a deal. I think, as we continue to be disruptive, create negative yardage plays, put offense behind the chains, they're going to start to come because that's going to force offenses to make mistakes.
Thank you.
Declan Walsh.
Yeah, just 2 questions, Coach. So you talked about how Stoops' defense builds an identity around being like kind of big, strong, physical. You faced something similar against Alabama week 3, and you kind of wore down their defensive front. Can you talk about what goes into wearing down a defense and kind of establishing the run game, especially later on?
Well, I mean, you gotta be consistent. You gotta be you gotta be able to cover people up and block them. Our backs got to run hard, but we gotta, handle all the different movements and blitzes that they create up front. You got to do a good job on third down. It give you more opportunities to run the ball and be physical on first down. So that's a big part of it.
And the second question, so obviously USF was a pretty split kind of road environment and limited capacity last year. So a lot of you guys haven't really played a lot of snaps in a true road environment. Kentucky got up for the game when you guys went out there in 2019. What's kind of you and the older guys' advice to some of the younger guys who haven't played in a real SEC kind of road environment?
Yeah, you got to be prepared to go handle it. I mean, they see what the environment is like when we're at home for us. So they'll see it. They'll know. They'll be good. With our guys, the older guys have been around. They see what it's like for other teams to come play in our place. There's guys. That's why you want to play in this league, though. You want to play in front of, you want to go in front of these environments where you go. I mean, it's a packed house, sold out stadium. That's part about being in the SEC that makes it fun.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Nick Villatore.
Hey, Coach. On that note, do you change anything in terms of getting ready? And then what is your, when you guys get up to Lexington, what do you do with the team to kind of just get them to see Kroger Field and things like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we will. You practice with all the crowd noise and you practice all that stuff during the week. As far as going up there, we don't change our routine. We'll show up 2 hours before kickoff and head out on the field and go get ready to go play. I think their field's the same dimension as ours, so right? I mean, it's the same size, same one we have back here in Hickory, on the field, so we don't have to go look at the field beforehand. It's just that maybe the stands are a little bit different.
And then it's another tough run defense. I think Tennessee had one, Alabama had one. You guys have been able to run kind of on everybody. Would you look at their scheme or do you look at their players? I know you've already mentioned, how big they are.
Well, I look at one of the things to them. They're not just with the size. They're big physical defensive. That's what they play. A lot of experience, a lot of seniors, a lot of fifth-year seniors, veteran guys that have been there, so they understand the scheme inside and out. And so you watch them. I mean, they're very sound in what they do. And when you have your guys that are confident in what they're doing and they know the scheme, they know the defense, they're there and they're able to make plays.
Thomas Bolkin.
Yeah, Dan, I know you mentioned Stu and DeLance up front. Kingsley, I think, came out of that game twice. How's he doing?
He's doing fine. Yeah, I mean, he came. I don't know if he came in the second time. It was the end of the game. The end of the game, but he even after the game, he was fine. Got rolled up on, but he came back. Would have been able to come back in the game later on.
And then how much does it help to, I know you talked about it briefly, but just that added development in terms of the depth, getting 7, 8, maybe even 9 guys deep?
Yeah, I mean, the key to the line, I mean, you always you'd like to have 8 minimally that you feel comfortable with getting in the game, and we're getting there. We're getting to that point, so that's a pretty good thing for us to get you through a season, and it's, because you look, I mean, we went into, you go into last week's game, and neither of your starting corners from preseason were playing. So you got to be able to create that depth to get through the season.
Chris.
Hey, Coach. It's funny. Damian Pierce talked about how no matter what team you play in this league, every team's got a great run defense. Every team is big and physical. What is the key to getting the over, or I guess getting the edge on these defenses? Is it scheme? Is it execution? Or is it just, the will for these guys in the trenches just to say, hey, I'm big, you're big, and I want it more than you? What's that combination?
Yes, is the answer. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. That's playing in the SEC, and I mean, if you look, I don't know. I think what are there like? I mean, looking at there's 8 of the 8 top 25 teams in the SEC this week in the rankings. I mean, so everywhere, I mean, more than half the leagues ranked in the top 25, and so I mean, chances are you're playing a pretty darn good team. every single week, but that is that. I mean, one, you got to have a sound scheme. Your guys have to understand the scheme. You got to make sure they coached up and they know what to do. They got to have great technique. They got to obviously have physical talent to go be able to do it. And they got to have the belief that they're going to be able to go run the ball and play hard and play physical. And, if you got to combine all of those things to have a success, but the key is just getting everybody on the same page with stuff. I mean, that's such a huge deal. We this year, I think everybody looks, we have so far this year a little more emphasis on the run game than we had last year. And we have more emphasis on the pass game last year. But as long as you get everybody on the same page, it's all about understanding what our plan is and how to execute it, and making sure we're putting guys in position to be successful, to do what they do well, and those guys embracing the plan and executing it.
All right, and number two, with this offense, right, as you just mentioned, last year you guys were pass heavy. This year you guys are run heavy, in a sense more. Is it nice to kind of have, I guess, maybe a little bit more of a balance, knowing you can run the rock and grind down defenses, yet at the same time, when you need to, when you want to, you can go to the air and make the plays you have to?
Yeah. Last year was fun too. I don't go one way or the other. I kind of look. I'm kind of like very real. This is what it is. What it is, and we look at who we have. Okay, we look at here's what our goal is to win football games. How do we put our guys in position to go do that? And I really enjoy that. And if it means we have to throw it a ton, I love that was fun, And if we got to run it a ton, that was fun. That's fun. I don't know. I just love coaching ball, so it's all fun.
And you like to win, right?
I like it. Winning's not bad either. I like that too.
Thanks, Coach.
Matt Baker.
Hey, Dan, you and the other coaches talked a lot about Malik Davis's development and the camp, and obviously we've seen him be successful so far. When did you realize he could be a real difference maker for you all?
Well, I went back when we first got hired, went back and watched some of the film to see just the different talent levels we had. And watching him as a freshman, I thought this guy's a special guy. And unfortunately for him, he battled with a couple of injuries in the middle part of his career. And now, that's the guy that we saw early on, I think, is back, except now it's not just a freshman doing it. It's a guy that's a veteran guy that understands the system, understands the scheme, understands what we're trying to accomplish. So, I think there's a great deal of confidence in him from our offensive staff in every aspect of his game. And, and you just see it as performance. I think he's performing at an extremely high level right now.
And I want to go back to something you said a minute ago. When you were talking about mental errors, you said, did I hear you correctly? You said told the team that you screwed something up?
Oh, yeah. What
did you screw up?
I'm not going to get into it. I don't throw people under the bus, even myself. You guys know that. I'm not going to throw myself under the bus, even with exactly what it is. But, I just want to make sure, like everybody, the key to our success is everybody just owning up to, hey, when we do things well, let's call that out and emphasize it and continue to do those things well. When we don't do things poorly or make mistakes, let's own those, right, and find a way to make sure we're fixing it and we don't do it again. I'm sure I make mistakes every game. And, I can look back and say, you know what? One, easy to not just second guess yourself, but look and say, hey, did I handle, as you evaluate it, did I do this the exact right way? Should I have done this differently? And not second guessing, looking back and saying, okay, I think I would have done that. Is probably the simplest one, right? If you want me to throw myself under the bus, I'll give you the easy one. Usually, anytime we have a delay a game, I put that a lot on me. So we had to delay a game on special teams. I think our punt team had to delay a game, right? So that's a lot on me. I got to figure out what we're doing, get the team on the field, make sure the decision's called, the play's called, get the offense off the punt team on, and get the ball punted. And I think we had to delay a game in special teams. So that's definitely on me. And you can't do that. So everybody's got to look and own it. I'm an aggressive guy, so sometimes I'm thinking, do I really want to go for this in this situation? Then think realistically and say that'd be a really dumb move. And by that time, I took maybe 3 seconds too long to do that. And, but I think that's part of everything with the team is we always you self-evaluate. Okay, embrace what we do well and continue to build on it, but let's eliminate mistakes.
That's fair. I was just curious. Thank you.
Is that why Bree only gave you an A-?
That's probably why she I mean, I got a tough critics at home too. I mean, they evaluate the game, and she thought, hey, probably could have been a little bit better right there.
You come home like the list from Cannon?
I don't know what Cannon's grade would have been. I mean, he would have. His probably would have been even tougher. But
Thank you.
Edgar?
Speaking of special teams, Dan, would you like more punch from that group? I mean, Jeremy's obviously punting well, but the returns and blocks, anything like that? I mean, what do you see some areas you'd like to get going there?
yeah, I mean, I still think we can get a little bit better in our kick coverage down the field. Even though, I mean, we did a good job. The most of their starting field positions were inside the 25. I think every one of them was inside the 25, to be honest with you, on that part of it. In the game, return game, I mean, you're playing in league play, kickoff return, how it all sets up. There's talented kickers and talented dudes come running down the field. So we still got to be a little bit cleaner in that aspect of things. I think our punt return game's been pretty solid so far this year when we get opportunities to do it. It seems a lot of people are kicking away from us, and that way. But overall, I do think our guys take great pride in special teams. I think Greg Knox does an awesome job with our special teams units. And I think it's something we're always constantly preaching and building on. That, I mean, you look at the three phases of the game. If we go out and win the special teams part of the game every week, you either got to then have a good day on offense, or a great day on offense, or a great day on defense, and you should have a chance to win the game. So it's something that we spend a lot of time on.
Well, I was nitpicking, and you mentioned it, but running back rotation, that was the one thing I really wanted to ask. So
Yeah.
Is it set in stone, like you said with Anthony, third series kind of thing? And how do those guys kind of handle that? And are they, when it's their series coming up, do you see like Naquan, for example, who's been running fantastically, just chomping at the bit to get in there?
Yeah, I don't, Greg handles it. I have great trust in what he's doing. We kind of go through the plan of what we want to run that series. And sometimes not usually, there's probably a couple of things here and there that are specific to certain backs. We like this guy in the field for this situation, or that guy for this another situation. But that's not, not that none of that is really set in stone to me, to be honest with you. I kind of let Greg handle that rotation with those guys because I'm pretty comfortable with whoever's out there on the field. Now if we have a certain play that's designed for one of those guys, then there is a set plan, and he and I got to make sure we're on the same page with calling a play. But 90-some% of the offense, just all three of them, we feel pretty comfortable with those guys rolling through.
Makes sense. Thank you, Dan.
We'll close with Thomas.
Yeah, Dan, we probably don't ask you about the other team enough. What is Kentucky doing differently offensively this year, and what kind of challenges that create?
Yeah, I think very different in their schematic approach, even though philosophy's probably, hadn't changed a whole lot. They're big physical run game, power run team, big back, big line, power run game. And they, I think philosophically where they've changed how they do that is a little differently, and then the complements that they use with play action pass on it is different this year. They have some transfers that have come in and made immediate impacts on the offensive side of the ball, receiver, a quarterback. So, I think that part of it is that combination. It's always a challenge. You're going to play a team that's a big physical power run team. You got to be able to do that if you want to control the tempo of the game and not let them completely control the game up front, but they complement it really well with their play action pass package.
And then Wandel Robinson specifically, what is he doing for them?
Which one? What number?
Oh, God. You got me on the spot.
I know numbers. You know what I'm saying?
He's number one.
I gotcha. Yeah. I think doing it. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, the guys that come in, within the play action part of the game that come in and can create the explosive plays down the field. Because I do, when you go play them with their backs and their line and their physicality, you do focus on the run game. Hey, we got to stop the run, and that creates the matchups for the play action shots down the field. And he's done a great job of hitting explosive plays down the field, making explosive plays down the field.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Go Gators.
Go Ryder Cup talk.
Yeah. Big Ryder Cup win this week.
Right.
All right, guys, we'll have some players here in a minute.